Ulrich, as I read it, when it says something stupid, just interrupt.
All right.
Obviously, same goes for you.
Yep.
Final Fantasy VII Remake took a dump on my childhood by Fraser Brown. Give me back, give me back my rose-tinted glasses.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, Jesus, correct.
Took a dump on your childhood. You need your rose-tinted glasses back. Well, the fucking other games still exist.
Mm-hmm.
Here, put your glasses back on, dipshit. Like, what the fuck?
No.
Play the original.
Once the new one comes out, the old one must be completely annihilated from everyone's mind collectively, don't you know?
No, that's not how that works. If that's how that worked, I'd have to acknowledge that there's 9 Star Wars movies, and that is sure as shit not happening.
Are we counting the Christmas movies?
I would count the fucking holiday special before I'd count the new shit.
Because I can only think of 6 without the holiday movies.
Exactly.
That's what God intended. His name is Eggman, also known as George Lucas.
Egg Lucas.
Let's continue.
It's always a little embarrassing to see grown-ass adults turning into large, furious babies over adaptations or remakes of their faves, as if the thing they loved was somehow destroyed in the process. I, of course, only have ever lost a proportionate response to things, except apparently Final Fantasy VII Remake, which launched on consoles last year and PC today. It broke into my home and took a big steaming dump right on my childhood, which is surely a crime. Yes, now I'm the large, furious baby.
Well, that or an idiot. Probably both.
Final Fantasy VII was, for a while, the best game I'd ever played. I don't even think it's the best Final Fantasy these days, but it remains special for a long time. The first one I really got stuck into, and a rare JRPG I've actually finished. But when I think back on this...
indictment.
Yeah, what an indictment.
Means a lot.
He finished it.
I actually finished a game. Be proud of it.
Now, I know it was pretty long for back in the day, wasn't it?
I mean, it was 3 discs. I was a wee lad back when I first played it, so it took me a long time. The first time I beat it, but then I discovered the Game Shark and had a shitload more fun with it.
Game Shark.
And I always tried to because at the time when I first played through it, a friend of mine had a strategy guide, and he's the reason I ended up beating it, because I did use the strategy guide because I don't know, I like strategy guides. They're a thing I kind of miss, even though they're still around just online. But I don't know, it's not the same. I used to really like having the strategy guide books, but yeah, I played through it when it first came out and stuff, and I really liked it. I had no idea what the fuck it was about because I had never heard of Final Fantasy. I didn't, for whatever reasons, I didn't connect that it was the 7th one in a series. I just thought that was the title.
It's a goofy name. All right.
I didn't even, the name was goofy. I didn't realize it was a series.
Well, to be fair, it's only a series in name. They don't really...
Yeah, they don't connect.
Connect.
But I remember liking it, and there were parts that I had trouble with when I was a kid that I probably wouldn't have trouble with now. Like last time I played through the original, but I mean the old game is still fine. Like Barrett's definitely not as likable in the original, but I guess we'll see what our furious man baby has to say.
But when I think back on this treasured part of my childhood, I now only remember my exasperation from playing Remake last year and the relief I felt when I finally finished it.
Oh, hey, he beat 2 games. Good for him.
Hey man, he's a games journalist. Beating games isn't part of his job.
Talking shit about them.
At the start of my adventure through the intimidating city of Midgar, I was spellbound. Technology had caught up with the original team's vision, finally giving us a city that felt tangible and characters that didn't look like they'd fallen out of Kinder Egg. What the fuck is a Kinder Egg?
I'm gonna assume it's some kind of
chocolate hollow eggshells that have like candy and toys inside. They have commercials for them.
Oh. It's a weird thing to say something looks like. Alright. Final Fantasy VII.
the original character sprites did look really bad.
Well,
yeah, they did.
Yeah.
especially hands.
Because like I remember when Final Fantasy the next one came out, and I saw that the character models were like the battle models from 7. I was like, oh, they're like that all the time. This is so cool. Obviously, I didn't like 8 quite as much, but
Yeah, one day we'll go through all of them. Probably be
maybe
sad
I
when
don't
you
know.
get to
I don't
certain
really
ones.
want to play 8 again.
I'm gonna force you to do it. Final Fantasy VII's backdrops look amazing, of course, but this recreation of Midgar feels alive, rather than a handsome piece of art with some goofy-looking character stuck on top. Ooh, a picture of Aerith.
And Master Chief.
I don't have a picture
Oh,
of
you
Master
know,
Chef.
I do.
I don't know what game that is, I don't care. I was even
Oh.
happier to see characters like Jessie get their due, and everyone benefits from the new voice acting and modern animation. While the wee blocky character models from the original do have their charms, remakes are far more expressive. Then there's the Honeybee Inn section, which now celebrates tearing down gender norms instead of making fun of Cloud putting on a dress. The boy's a
Not what
little
happens.
hottie and deserves respect for looking like good in a gown.
They still make fun of him.
Oh yeah, like one of the best lines in the game is in the Honeybee section, like the remake, where fucking Cloud's like, "Yeah, nailed it."
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Dude, I
like I don't
fucking lost
like
my shit.
yeah.
It was great.
Team's like Cloud, yeah, nailed it. Moving on.
How could I look hotter than the two of you?
Oh, it's so great.
Don't really think it celebrates tearing down gender norms. Just kind of
Well,
moves on. I always just took it as something that happened. But I don't generally put like that kind of crap in video games when I play them, so.
and I don't really think it celebrates. It's not like it goes out of its way to do anything special with it.
It doesn't.
No, like you do a Dance Dance Revolution kind of thing,
It's fun.
and it's funny. It's entertaining, which is really what you want. Well animated. What they do for the most part makes sense. I mean, it's a crazy plan to come up with. Like, how do we rescue our friend from the sex dungeon? All right, we'll dress you like a girl and sell you to the Don. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a
What?
perfect plan.
But we're not going to tell the rest of the team about it.
No.
Eris and Tifa get to find out later.
But even when I was enjoying myself, I was growing less and less enthusiastic about getting into yet another fight. Remake scraps are undeniably flashy and fun to watch, but participating in them is like trying to wrangle combat systems from 3 separate games at once. In trying to do a bit of everything, it does nothing well, and I never felt inspired to get to grips with it. I just melded through.
Absolute bullshit.
Uh-huh.
The combat
yeah.
system is amazing in that game.
Mhm.
I mean, I built Cloud to be a mage. Cloud was literally my mage, and I only really gave him heal and fire. Like those were the 2 things I kept on him the whole game.
Mhm.
I'd occasionally switch out other stuff. Barrett was my lightning guy. I had
Yeah.
Barrett lightning stuff to death
I did the same.
because most of the robots you fight with Barrett.
My robot killer. Yep.
And
Yeah.
he was the robot killer. Eris was also a mage. Tifa
Yeah.
was my brawler. Barrett, like I said, was the robot guy. Red
Aerith
13 was
obviously had
there.
the best. Aerith obviously had the best heal.
But yeah, the combat system is amazing. Like, it's fun. It's interactive.
I don't really get what he's talking about,
it-
though, with the whole it's 3 separate games, or like 3 separate systems.
I
He
mean,
hasn't played many
it's
games.
kind of like what a better version of Kingdom Hearts combat system. Honestly,
It's literally a remake
like
of
the
Crisis Core.
Kingdom Hearts 2 or Crisis Core. Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 2 is a game that it kind of reminds me of as far as the combat system goes. It's not obviously the same, but like it has the action command menu. It's also a game you control yourself. You run around. You don't just press buttons like in a typical RPG where it's like one side versus the other and you take turns. It's more active time, and I don't think that hurts. I think it helps it a lot. The mana system, I liked how they did it because you build up your gauge and then you can use your spells, and it's not like it's super hard to build them up. You just attack. And a lot of your power comes from using the right spells, which is why I built Cloud to kind of be a mage. Like I think it worked really well. They made each weapon unique instead of just straight better versions of other ones.
Oh yeah.
So each weapon had like a point to it. It wasn't like, oh hey look, I found dolphin gloves. Oh hey look, I found red dolphin gloves. You know, each glove you found has a build to it you can do.
Well, then once you finish leveling up each weapon too, it'll
Yeah,
give
you
you
get
a special move to use with it that you can then put onto a different weapon.
yeah. Then you can take that move like Barrett's Gatling cannon thing bullshit that he gets.
Yeah.
Like that move it costs 2 of your bars, but it's really fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you have the
So
lightning enchantment on it, so you melted all the robot bosses.
To be honest, though, what else are you going to use with Barrett?
I
I
mean,
mean,
you can
there's a
give
melee. There are melee builds you could do with Barrett, and he'd probably be pretty good. But I didn't do that
The
because
problem is,
I used the melee stuff just to unlock the ability, but then I never really used it.
the problem is you really need range in a lot of fights,
Oh yeah, like
like the helicopter jerks.
oh yeah, the helicopter guys are annoying, but at least you can blow up their jetpacks with fire.
I always use Cloud with fire.
Yeah, that's what I did too. And then Eris, you basically make her the healer
Mm,
and give her the spells Cloud doesn't have access to,
pretty much.
which is pretty much ice.
Tifa gets up close and personal.
Yeah.
And I found a way to get her like super
Oh yeah,
heavy
you could
damage
I still think I think I had Tifa with I think I had her with poison stuff, so she could throw that out if I needed her to.
bio.
Yeah, bio. But yeah, like the combat system feeling muddled. No. Complex, maybe a little bit, but like it's not a hard complex to understand if you
No,
play the game. So
especially because you only have to worry about one character at a time, unless the other characters are being dumb.
and it's not like the AI is bad. Like there's maybe 1 or 2 instances I can remember of the AI being wonky, but I never really thought it was bad.
No, they pretty much take
And
care of themselves.
most of the bad AI I can remember is either hard boss fights or Red 13 because you couldn't control them at all.
They won't go out of their ways to put themselves into danger, which is a good thing, but they're not super offensive.
Yeah, and there are different ways to play. Like you can turn on the classic mode thing where your character auto attacks and moves around automatically and guards and stuff, and you just control how they spend their mana. Which is kind of what you start doing in the later stages of the game anyway when you get better at controlling them. So yeah, I don't know about that.
No, it's muddled. He said so.
I don't agree.
No. Disagreed.
Very much
Disagreed.
so.
I have a playthrough on the channel. You guys can go watch just parts of it to see what I'm talking about. So
Yeah, we'll move on with the silly article.
Yep.
The original's turn-based fights never exactly set the bar high, so I wouldn't call the change a huge loss. But
I would
remakes
also disagree.
But remakes
I think
combat
the
system.
active time battle system in the originals were like
Evolutionary
I guess yeah
at the time.
like at the time I didn't like turn based.
No, neither.
Like I didn't think turn based was nearly fun. It didn't hold my attention. The active time shit made it so much better. You could see how stuff worked. I remember fidgeting with materia somehow to where I could get like a bunch of attacks really fast with somebody. Now they weren't good. Now this wasn't a good build, but it let me attack super fast.
Yeah.
And at the time, I thought this was the greatest thing. I think I did on Yuffie. It was like Yuffie or maybe it was Red 13. I don't remember, but
she steal all the material.
yeah, like it let her turn come up so fast, so I could sit there and keep spamming moves.
Steal,
It was either Yuffie or Red 13. I can't remember. I might have done it with both because it was based on the slots and the weapons, obviously. But yeah, I don't know. I think the original active time battle system did set the bar pretty high. Like there's a lot to like about the active time battle system, and you know, to kind of support that, most games use an active time battle system of some sort, especially if you get away from RPGs. So yeah, get fucked, kid. That's what I think.
Big stinky baby needs to go change his diaper.
Right.
The original. Okay, so.
Yep.
The original's turn-based fights never exactly set the bar high, so I wouldn't call the change a huge loss. But Remake's combat system made me put my controller down and look for other diversions a lot. This broke the game's rhythm. I just couldn't get into the groove, and every fight just exasperated this awkwardness.
Well, I mean, I can kind of understand it. If you're bad at video games, you're not going to be able to play them for very long at a time.
Well, the only fight I can think of that's like some of the boss fights do take a while, but stuff is happening while you're doing it. The first boss, the one they have the picture of that guy, which go figure, hey, our example picture is like the first boss in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like that guy takes a while to beat, right? But stuff is constantly happening while you're fighting him. He like jumps up on the thing and starts shooting lasers, and you gotta run and hide behind cover. You know, stuff is just happening on screen, and it's not like it's hard to figure out what to do. Oh hey, he's got a big fuck off laser, hide behind something. Oh hey, he's charging his laser, get behind something. Well, hey, he's on the ground, break his shield generator so you can kill him. Oh hey, as he's losing health, he's lighting on fire. Like,
well, the entire time before his fight too, they do nothing but hype him up and how much he's going to destroy you. They even give you the 3 options to find a way to debuff him.
Yeah, and also Cloud and Barret are talking the entire time. It's just fun as hell. Like, funny as hell.
Yeah, and a lot of the fights, the characters talk while you fight.
Yeah.
Also, as far as boss battles going on for too long, that's a Final Fantasy staple. Have they never played a Final Fantasy game where the fight didn't take forever?
I mean, like Unalesca, for example, is a fight that takes forever, and a lot of people, I mean, a lot of people quit at that point in the game that I've talked to.
Oh, but zombie. Figure out how to fix it.
Yeah, here, you gotta keep one person zombied so Megadeth doesn't kill him, so he can resurrect people if she casts life.
It could take forever.
The
weapons take forever.
I didn't know Zombie was immune to Megadeth until it happened on accident because she cast the 2 moves right in a row.
Yeah, they don't hold your hand. They don't tell you how to do that.
She like hit me. I quickly cured 2 of my people. Then she cast Megadeth, and then I was like, oh, I know what to do now. I think I still lost that time, and then I had to redo it. But
didn't Final Fantasy 15 have a whole thing where like a boss took there's like a boss that takes literally like 6 hours to beat or something like that?
Adamantoise.
I don't know. I haven't played 15.
I don't think he necessarily takes that long, but I know he does. He has a lot of health.
And it's
one day we plan on playing that too.
Oh, absolutely. I want to be a boy band with my homies.
It'll also be interesting because outside of that, I've literally avoided everything about that game. I know the main character's name is Noctis.
Gas and then you have to push the car.
I didn't even know that was a thing. That sounds hilarious. Yeah, I know your character's name is Noctis, I think, and there's a giant monster that takes forever.
Or Noctis. I don't know. He's like a prince or something.
Yeah.
He's a prince, and then the other people are like your knight, your best friend, and some advisor, I think. And then I mean, the reason they had an all-male cast in that one is because they wanted to expand on like writing for male intimacy or something. If I remember right, but
point is when we'll play through it, even though it's been 7 or 8 years since it came out, we'll actually be going in blind.
My God, that sounds weird to say. I want to play through the new one too. The new one looks good.
Yeah.
But anyway, continuing with boss fights are hard.
Continuing with boss fights take a while in an RPG.
Right.
Man, I'd hate to see this guy fight the bitch from I can't think of her name.
Which game?
She's really annoying. She's got like 10 million health. And she's from Star Ocean.
Star Ocean. The ends of time.
Yeah.
She's a chick. She's the chick in the end tower. If anybody knows what we're talking about, optional boss.
Yeah, she's got like 10,000 or 10 million health. She is a very hard to beat fight. I never actually did that fight because it takes a lot of grinding to get to that point. But that game has all kinds of weird shit you can do, like beating the final boss with a level 1 party. The way you do that is you kill Fate in the beginning, and you play with just Cliff up to a certain point, and then when you take Fate out of your party, keep Fate dead because he doesn't gain XP when he's dead, and you play with just Cliff until you can take Fate out of your party. Then I think you need Sophie and The other level 1 character you can get is the dancer girl. Can't think of her name.
Which is the P, but I don't remember.
Yeah, and basically at that point, you keep them out of your party. You keep them all level 1. Then you go and you use the crafting system to make like top end gear for them, and then you set them against the final boss, and you can beat the final boss at level 1 to get a battle card. Which battle cards, the more of those you get, the more costumes you unlock for the multiplayer. Or something like that. Or costumes in general. I don't remember. They're basically recolors.
It was silly.
Yeah. Way, way too much work to actually
Pull off.
to do, but
For a mighty PS2 RPG.
it gave it a lot to do in it.
Gives you a lot of
Definitely my
gameplay
favorite
time.
Star Ocean game, but anyway.
Eh.
That was a complete tangent.
It's alright, tangents are fun.
Get used to it.
As JRPGs go, Remake is not a long game, but it's absolutely been padded out. Side quests are plentiful, but these rarely amount to anything other than busy work.
Like side quests.
Yeah, it's almost like a side quest. Square Enix had an opportunity here to use them to give us a stronger connection to Midgar, but instead offered up nothing but finding lost kittens or killing random monsters in a scrapyard.
Like Final Fantasy VII, the original.
Well, I would disagree that they're busy working the fact that they're a side quest, yes, but like if you do all the side quests in an area, it's how you unlock like the better makeups and shit for Cloud. You can get the different dresses for Eris based on the side quests you do.
You can blow up all the boxes for
They
the kids.
mean stuff.
Yep.
And in the world, they're mostly just like, hey, go kill a monster. Hey, go find a thing.
Well, yeah, but Cloud's a mercenary.
That's not bad.
You help an orphanage.
Yeah, he is a mercenary. Having him do mercenary work makes sense. While they are still side quests, so they are just busy work, I won't really argue that. I would argue that they do have a narrative reason for being there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like when you're playing a game and it's like, oh, hey, man, space is fully in on itself and we're all going to die, but you can go back to Earth now and farm some flowers.
Farm those flowers before you
That's
fight
a
the
shot
final
at
boss.
another game you just played.
Mm-hmm. That annoyed me.
I still need to beat it, but I don't want to grind.
Also, that game has a lot of like. We'll talk about.
We'll talk about that game at some point. As soon as I can fucking finish grinding.
Oh my god, there's so much grinding in that game.
Yeah, and I don't have all the XP boosts. So
I actually
pain.
fucking bought the one starter pack thing just to get the XP booster in it. It's because it takes so long to grind without it.
Tales of Arise, everyone. Anyway.
Yeah, Tales of Arise is a fun game. I won't deny it. It is fun. But man, does it have problems.
Yeah, well, one day we'll talk more about those problems. People will argue that you can just skip them, but what if the next one is actually going to be good? FOMO was nearly as bad as doing more dismal chores. Chores.
I don't know. I like George Ryan.
George.
I English so well, yes.
Nobody would know it's your fifth language.
I mean, this guy is talking about side quests in a JRPG like I accidentally thought of filler episodes in Naruto.
Yeah. Like, well, Naruto's all shit, but
At the very least, the filler is.
Not a hill I'm gonna die on. So, side quests in general are fine. They're an important part to any game. You can't do the crazy. I mean, you can obviously have a game where there's a lot of just straight to important shit, but like yeah, a lot of side quests and stuff are always going to be kind of padding. Now, I don't mind it, especially when you get stuff for it, like money or items that you can, like if you can get the champions belt by doing this stupid sit-up thing in this.
I love that part.
It's actually
and you can do squats to get another champions belt. Champions belts are really good in Final Fantasy VII Remake, and they're completely, for the most part, optional to try and get, because all you have to do is ace the workouts. I don't think you need to ace the workout to get the key card or the makeup or whatever the fuck you're doing, but I think it's makeup you have to do squats for.
I
'Cause
think
it's when Cloud's
that
trying
I
to
don't
dress
think that
up.
was makeup. I think that was for is that the wig?
I mean, the wig. Well, whatever. Either way, it's for your disguise.
Yeah, it was for the disguise.
It's for a fucking hilarious part of the game.
Yeah, that whole part's great. But yeah, like the characters while you're doing side quests and stuff still talk. The new Guardians of the Galaxies game, when you're off exploring as Quill and like Rocket makes fun of you, he's like, "Oh hey Quill, where are you going? Just touching shit? Where the fuck is he at?" And they're like, "Oh, I think he climbed up that cliff," and everyone's like, "Why?"
Mm-hmm.
And Star Lord's just like, I'm exploring. I gotta find stuff.
That was
And
great.
having the dialogue there really made that more meaningful. So you could obviously have dialogue and stuff to fit these things, and it doesn't hurt anything. But it's still, at the end of the day, just side exploration shit for costumes for the most part, or components.
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't know. I think side quests are a fine part of gaming. How enjoyable they are is obviously based on game to game. Like I like PSO New Genesis. Hard game to kind of try and get people to get into because it's very cash shop heavy. But the side quests in that are like, hey, go feed a MAGA turtle. Hey, go pick 10 grapes out of a tree for some reason. It's like, oh, okay, those aren't very inspired compared to like this game where it's, hey, go kill a toaster in the junkyard, and then they fucking shit talk it while they're doing it. There's a lot going on, so I think side quests are important. I don't. I think they're different from game to game. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if you're collecting 10 zebra hoofs or fucking killing a turtle.
Or hey, how about
you're
for
still just doing busy work.
how about for character
How enjoyable it is,
development?
though, changes from game to game.
But how about for character development not being in side quests? What about the Angel of Midgar or whatever she calls herself? That's a whole side quest series.
Yeah,
We have to track down the robber.
yeah. Who I was convinced was Yuffie just early,
I
but
thought it might.
then they made Integrate, and I'm probably wrong. Unless it turns out that I'm not, but I haven't played Integrate yet.
That's
But
what's
I
gonna
will
be.
soon.
That's what's gonna be happening soon here.
Right.
Continuing on.
Yeah.
I was playing Yakuza spin-off Judgment at the same time, and it really shows up Remake pretty much everywhere, really, but especially when it comes to side quest. Like Yakuza, Judgment's side stories get just as much consideration as the critical path, but remakes feel just like an obligation, and only a couple justify their existence. The rest serve to fatten up what's really just a third of a full game.
So the remake adds plenty of content to make it its own game.
Mm-hmm.
He's going off the argument it's basically not even the whole first disc. That's his argument he's making right here, basically.
Mm-hmm.
The Yakuza game he's talking about, I've played it. The side quests are really good in that game. There's lots to do, and there's all kinds of crazy bullshit. And yeah, that's fun. That's fine. But I wouldn't say that they are better than the Final Fantasy ones. I would definitely say there's more variety and they're funny because that game doesn't take itself very seriously, except for when it does. But yeah, there's a lot to it. Like I wouldn't say either one of these games have bad side quests. If I want, like I already named an example, PSO New Genesis has bad side quests. And they call them dailies. And you're like, hey, come on, man, log on and play for 15 minutes so you're done for the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't think the side quests feel like an obligation.
I mean, considering I don't recall ever sitting there and be like, "Oh my god, will this fucking
Even that
end
new
for any of the side quests?"
Like like I said, they added plenty of stuff. They added more to do with Avalanche instead of it just being a bunch of guys in a bar who are crazy. There's like a whole system of Avalanche now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And you
it's
find
different
out that
cells.
your team is kind of like
The radicals.
radical
not
one.
well known or not well liked.
Mm-hmm. I
That
don't
wasn't
remember
convenient.
if there's more Avalanche in the original.
I don't think so.
I don't think there is. Like I don't remember them ever coming up after you leave Midgar. Everyone's crushed by the plate. Spoiler, by the way.
Spoiler for the fucking 30-year-old game.
Trust us, that part doesn't really change from the original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it follows a lot of the same beats. A lot of people are like, oh, they're just doing this so you can save Eris and Zack. And I'm like, I mean, maybe, but that doesn't necessarily mean it'll be bad.
Mm. I mean, that was a
Like,
huge
if
complaint from the original, so why not try something new?
a lot of people probably don't remember a lot of the weird shit in Final Fantasy, like that comes up after you leave Midgar, because most people only seem to talk about Midgar.
Right.
But like, there's a tower defense part. There's going to the bottom of the ocean to get turned into a frog by Emerald Weapon, unless you have a gemstone that lets you breathe for a really long time. The water breathing material. I don't even remember the fuck you get that stupid thing. There's ultimate weapon. Getting ultimate weapons in Final Fantasy VII Original is super easy, by the way. You literally just kill stuff or open chests. Those are the two things you do.
Getting the most OP spell and blue spell.
Yeah, you breed a gold chocobo, then you can go get it. You can do that pretty early.
Oh, I was gonna say, I was talking about beta.
Oh, beta? Yeah, beta's really good if you can get that early,
too. Right after fighting the Midgar Serpent or walking past him.
Yeah. I was talking about getting Knights of the Round. Which you literally, like, just use that every fight. Like, what do you spend your money on? You know.
Beta's just a nuke.
Yeah.
It's the full party. But in order to get it, you have to survive it. And that's a hard thing to do.
I don't recall the tower defense thing, but that's hilarious.
There's like also a part where you gotta like go into a crashed, like you gotta steal a submarine to go into a crashed plane, and then for some odd reason, the Turks are there waiting for you, just like they're waiting for you past the Midgar Serpent. Then like you go to the Golden Saucer and you do all kinds of weird mini games. You kill Barrett's hometown because you don't like him. You purposely fail the train part. You kill the boss to get the XP, but then you sit there and don't press the button to kill Barrett's hometown. At least I did that because I didn't like Barrett. I like him a lot in the remake. I don't like him in the original.
He's really funny in the remake.
Yeah, in the remake he's pretty good, especially when he's like. Yeah, he's so much more likable. I'm like, if you're gonna talk about some criticisms about it, like comparing like the two, will they make Tifa more likable? Because like there's the whole thing of she kind of knows Cloud's insane and she feeds into it anyway, as like in a super manipulating way. Like that part, like there's an actual thing you could talk about and be like, are they actually gonna focus on this? Maybe kind of explain a little bit better. Are they gonna have Zack not be dead to kind of make this make more sense? Maybe. I mean, it's hard to say for sure. Like that'd be a more active criticism. I don't think he's gonna touch on that.
We'll find out.
In his stupid article that I hope we're almost done with.
Remake is simply unable to escape the fact that it's not a complete story. Knew that going in, I found it hard not to be disappointed with how awkwardly it attempts to tie things up, an attempt that ends in failure. It must be wild to play without knowing the original story, as it lacks even a proper antagonist. Sure, there's Shenra, Final Fantasy VII's evil corporation.
Proper antagonist? The president is an antagonist like the whole time.
But the payoff there is some weak stuff. A fight with Vice President Rufus and his magic dog.
That fight is amazing.
Rufus just shows up, you get into a frustrating battle, and then you're done.
Kill his dog. I mean, that sounds fucked to say, but you kill his dog and it's a lot easier.
Him with his coin is a lot more challenging.
Yeah. Especially if you don't kill the dog fast enough. I don't know if the dog, I don't know if he would coin and dog at the same time.
Oh, I don't know. I killed the dog pretty quickly.
Yeah, I did that too, because I'm like, yeah, no, we're not dealing with Wonder the Poocher Hound over here.
Well, I just question the, there's no payoff, but like, Midgar gets fucked. The whole place you've been dicking around in and saving and whatnot, it gets fucked.
I'd like to see this idiot explain, like, what the weapons are in the original Final Fantasy. Oh. Be like, they're Gundams. Like, oh yeah? Where'd they come from?
Planet Vegeta.
Yeah. Planet Vegeta.
Planet
Fucking
Fajita.
they're Genova cells in weapons. That's not what they are.
No,
Yeah,
they're
I
the
know that's not
Earth's
what they are,
defense
but like,
against
yeah, they're literally the
bad things.
planet trying to defend itself.
Unfortunately, they take their wrath out on humans.
I don't know.
Well,
I'm kind of
they
a fan
kind
of
of
the
kill
idea
everything.
that they're Gundams from Planet Vegeta.
Yeah, that would be funny too. But
They're basically like the Happening.
oh
Toei's
my god,
got
there's
The
still so
Happening.
much more to this article. I just scrolled down.
I know, so did I.
It's a
Oh.
hollow confrontation because while you've been dealing with Shinra throughout the game, it's mostly via grunts or henchmen like Reno and Rude. Rufus is just some guy you don't know.
This guy
Strange to
talks
call
like
Rufus out.
this guy talks like the game is finished.
Well, yeah, he even said earlier, he's like, I know it's not a finished game,
Like not even close.
but like, I mean, he's right now he's arguing that it's weird if you probably haven't played the original, so you don't know who any of these people are.
You don't need
and-
to. You don't know
and
who they are in the original either.
You don't know who they are at this point in the original either, so like it doesn't matter at this point. You know that they work for the bad guys, the evil corporation that is siphoning energy from the planet, because you are still an eco-terrorist, pretty much.
I just
I'm
want to
pretty
point
sure
out
the-
I remember fuck all from the original game, so I
pretty
remember
sure in the-
Advent Children.
Yeah.
And I remember
I'm pretty
like up until you go to Don Cornelio's place in the original, but like outside of that, I don't remember. I remember fuck all of Midgar.
Plus, I'm pretty sure in this one, I'm pretty sure the president does
It's only like a
mention
couple
Rufus
hours
at
in
some
the
point.
original. But like I said, they had more than enough to make Midgar its own thing. To make it an actual like mega city.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful.
Fucking Judge Dredd that shit.
Great, fantastic, 10 out of 10. Sephiroth is still around, of course, but at the point in the story Remake covers, he's a total enigma. When you face him in Remake's climax, there is a long, dramatic, and flashy battle, but it's an unearned moment. It comes too soon, so what should be a powerful, emotional high point just becomes an excuse to show off how epic and pretty Remake can look. And it does those two things very well.
It does do those two things very well. My argument would be Remake is a game for the fans.
Sure.
So a lot of people who play the original would probably have been happy with just a graphics update, right?
Right.
Going the step beyond and adding a new storyline and having Remake actually be part of the title was actually a pretty ingenious move.
Well, yeah, because if it was just called Final Fantasy VII, you would expect it to just be
even if
a
you called it Final
remaster.
Fantasy VII Remake or Remaster, and it was just graphics, like...
Well, yeah, but that's the
people
difference
would have
between a
been fine
remake and a
with
remaster.
I think going a new direction with it's fine. Like, if the story is good, because if it takes a stupid turn, you damn well bet I'll bitch about it. But
at the moment, it has.
Like, yeah, where it is right now, I think the game is still a 10 out of 10. But like, we'll have to see, I guess. Sephiroth in the game, you know a little bit about him. You don't learn much. I believe there are some some books and shit you can pick up about him. They'll talk about him a little bit, but he's not super important yet. So obviously you're not going to know about him. And the big flashy battle at the end, I mean, it kind of makes sense because of the ghost shit going on. So even if you think he's just a weird ghost guy, which isn't exactly wrong, like, it's still a cool fight and it's fun. Like, if you want to talk about bad villains that come out of nowhere, Star Child. Hey, man, you want to be fucking green, red, or blue? Or you can shoot me and get the game over ending.
They didn't add that until the update. So you tried it at first. I remember you turned around, you're like, can I just shoot this little bastard? Or you try shooting him. And maybe it was there and it just glitched on you. But I remember you just sit there and unloaded on him and he did nothing. We're like, oh, I guess you'll go pick green or whatever.
Yeah, I picked green. Because I didn't want to kill the Geth. Because I really like Legion.
The Geth are your homies. This is true of the original too, where Geth are your homies, which teases Sephiroth while keeping him at arm's length for a long time. But at least there, you're not waiting for years to actually find out what this creepy dude's deal is. It simply doesn't work when you break the game up like this. Creepy. Maybe I have a different definition of creepy.
He said creepy?
Creepy dude's deal is.
Oh. I don't know. Sephiroth is a lot of things. I don't think I've ever heard him called creepy before, though, so that's weird. But, like, it being broken up across years, there's plenty of games I could go to for examples about this that are way worse, where you never find anything out about the bad guy. I really liked the Trials of Cold Steel games, right? You don't know what the fuck a lot of the stuff introduced in the first game is until about halfway through the end of the fourth, or like halfway through the fourth game in the series. And this is stuff introduced in the first game. There's a lot of shit that just doesn't get answered till that point.
Mm-hmm.
And the answers are good, and I mean, they're neat to know, but like for the stories that came beforehand, they're not really that important. Which introducing stuff like that in a complete timeline makes it feel like it makes more sense. So
when it was clear, I was
disagree at this point.
Yeah, I don't think you'll agree with much in this article outside of the one little tip
side quest and the one game being good.
Yeah. When it was clear I was hurtling toward the end, I was on autopilot, just trying to get through a bunch of big fights so I could finally walk away. Remake had lost me completely. I couldn't bring myself to care about any of it, because it was clear there wasn't going to be a satisfying conclusion. So,
the story's not over yet.
He also admitted that he just stopped paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds familiar,
yeah,
doesn't it?
Hey, I wasn't paying it. I wasn't paying attention, so I don't care at this point. It's like, oh, hey, wonderful. Like, I really like, if you really like Final Fantasy game, and you stop paying attention for the majority of what happens after Midgar, and then you beat Sephiroth, and you're like, man, that game was really good.
Yeah, I gave up on this game, so you should listen to me critique it.
Yeah. I stopped paying attention, and I didn't think it was great. It's like, well, like, even if you don't like it, you should at least give it the courtesy of paying the fuck attention. Like, come on.
Yeah.
And saying there's not going to be a satisfying conclusion in this game when you know I think it's a trilogy or something they're doing. I don't remember how many games.
They've flopped on how many.
Yeah, however many games it ends up being,
flip-flopped.
That's really what matters here. Like, if they do one more game in the series and the ending's good, then this statement has no thing. If they never do another one for some reason, then he kind of has a point. But at the moment, at least,
be that way.
I'm pretty sure this game made a lot of money.
Probably. Oh yeah, I'd guarantee it. I bought the stupid big super edition to get a Cloud on a motorcycle.
I was worried. Yeah, I'll keep going. Just we'll try and get through this. Hopefully.
I know.
This is an awful lot of stupid.
It's a drag.
I was worried that Remake would change too much, but it turns out that was what it really needed, was some more dramatic changes to make its transformation into multiple games a success. Wait, that doesn't make any sense. You wanted to change, but you were bitching about it being changed. I hate stupid people. And this brings me to what, sadly, I must confess is the real reason it feels like Remake took a crap on my childhood. Maybe Final Fantasy VII ain't all that. I have a lot less patience now for fighting my way through boring corridors. Final Fantasy XIII doesn't have a monopoly on this, or participating in poorly designed minigames. If I ever visit a gym again, I will cry. You're a journalist, you don't go to a gym, don't you fucking lie to me.
I know.
And that whole paragraph doesn't make sense to me.
So they want more changes, but there weren't enough changes.
They want more changes, even though they turned the Midgar segment into its own game.
But that wasn't enough changes.
That holds up pretty well. It wasn't enough.
But it was also too much earlier.
Yeah, it's very strange.
And he doesn't have as much patience now. That sounds like a you problem. Like, maybe you're just retarded.
Like.
Maybe you just can't pay attention to anything anymore.
I mean, even if he's saying like he's got a busy work schedule, or he's got to play 10 games a week or whatever and beat all 10. It's
a game journalist. He probably plays like Bejeweled for 3 hours a day.
I was gonna say, sounds like he hasn't played any games lately.
Well, I don't really know too much about that, but like saying that this game's bad because other games do stuff better is a strange argument. Saying this game's bad because it does things too differently but not differently enough is also a strange argument. The random shot at Final Fantasy 13, while funny, doesn't really help what he's saying.
I think he's saying this game also has a bunch of corridors.
It sounds like he didn't like the Tifa minigame.
Dude,
But
I will argue that
Or
fucking
the Cloud
segment was
minigame.
hilarious, and it was not. I mean, it was difficult, but it was difficult in the fun kind of way, just because it's so goddamn funny.
I wonder how long it took for him to beat the dartboard.
I thought the dartboard part was so funny, just because when Cloud gets it, he just...
Makes you happy.
Anyway, playing Remake also made me face the fact that I don't really like anyone I have to hang out with in Final Fantasy VII. Cloud has never been a strong JRPG protagonist, but I thought I liked some of the other characters no more. Isn't Cloud arguably one of the strongest JRPG protagonists because he's like the single most popular one in the West?
Not in the beginning, but he definitely gets better.
I'm not talking like physical strength, I'm talking like well-known presence character.
Oh.
Like,
in the original one, you have a lot more control over his personality. Like, you can have him be kind of a dick, heroic, or
yeah, it was dick, heroic,
emo.
or emo.
And this one, they can kind of combined everything.
Yeah, this one they kind of combined the three different personality choices. And I would say Cloud is definitely likable in this game. He starts off in a shell, but as you play the game, and this is the big part here. Are you ready for this reveal? Pay attention. He's a lot better. Like, him and Barrett actually, you could see them being friends by the end of the game. So
Barrett downright bullies him in the beginning.
Yeah, in the beginning, Barrett shit talks him, and he shit talks Barrett, and then by the end of it, they're like bros. It's good. So let's hear what he has to say about the other characters.
Barrett's an exhausting blowhard. Aerith is sickly sweet, and most of their adversaries are idiots. Barrett is he's a blowhard, but he's also like he's a good person.
They go out of their way to show you that he's a good person. He cares about his daughter. He cares about his friends. He wants to make the world a better place for his kid.
I'm starting
the
to
whole
think
reason he got into terrorism. Yeah, because like in the original, Barrett's just like, oh hey,
still a blowhard.
I'm a burnt marshmallow. Nobody likes me.
Nobody likes me. Aerith is sickly sweet. So I don't know why he's complaining about it now.
Well, I can almost understand the argument
that Aerith is sickly sweet either.
Yeah, I was about to say
she's definitely sweeter than the other characters. Like that's fine. She's kind of a cleric.
Well, yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
And like a half angel.
I can understand not liking character when they're too nice, but Aerith she has her really like funny smug moments.
She's kind of like manipulative and coy a lot of time too.
Aerith is basically an alien at this point. She's supposed to be different from everybody.
Yeah, she doesn't. I mean, she has parts where she's sweet, but I wouldn't say she's ever sickly sweet.
No.
I wouldn't agree with that at all. Like,
it sounds like there's
lots of parts where she's basically manipulating people to do what she wants.
I mean, she makes fun of Cloud for not being strong enough.
Pretty sure this dude just ran through the original, didn't pay attention to anything, and is now throwing a fit that he has to pay somewhat attention to the new series.
Yeah. And most of their adversaries are idiots. I don't really recall any particular bad guy being exceptionally stupid. Outside
the bad guys in it are kind of comically evil, but
yeah, they're comically evil, but like I think that's a bit different from idiot. But maybe he means idiot, like they're comically evil. And yeah, they are. I'll give them that.
They're supposed to be.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with my villains being, evil.
You want the bad guy to just pull out a fucking gun and shoot somebody and end them, and it's like, oh, game over.
Well, yeah, that's the problem when you sit there like my villain has to be the most competent, well thought out thing ever. Is 99% of the time your hero shouldn't advance past level 1. Then.
I mean, look at Viger, the tiny master of evil, and fire departments.
He is that.
That's a reference I don't think anybody's gonna get.
They will. But he's so comically evil, that's what makes him popular.
We can get to 1 million subscribers, I'll explain that.
There you go. I still dig Tifa, but I think that's just because I like anyone who will pour me a drink. That sounds shallow. The very thirsty Jessie, the character who's evolved the most, is the only one I unreservedly enjoyed.
You enjoy Tifa because she bartends? She's a bartender? Apparently. There's so much more to Tifa than being a bartender. I mean, he didn't call anything out specifically, other than he liked that aspect of her. But like, that seems like a strange thing to
I
call out.
if I
I
were
don't
to
know.
guess,
That one weirds me.
if I were to
Jesse is
guess,
thirsty though. Jesse is
Jesse is
thirsty as fuck in this
hilariously
game.
thirsty, and it's very funny.
Oh, definitely.
If I were to take a guess, a gander, if you will, I think he likes Tifa because he's a perv
For her
and he has a
strong
lot of
plot
Tifa
line,
hentai.
Maybe.
probably.
I mean, who doesn't? But
Her plot in the story.
Neanderthals, that's who don't have the goddamn internet.
Mm.
no, they still have stone etchings of Tifa.
I mean, look at
Her
that perfectly
polygonal
sculpted
boobs.
abs. It's perfect.
Anyway,
Anyway, Tifa being a bartender, and that's the only reason I like her being fucking insane take. Oh yeah.
Mm.
yeah, I don't know. There's a lot to Tifa in this game.
There's
I
a lot
don't.
to all of them. I like.
Yeah, I don't think any of the characters are poorly written, and they're voice acted really good. I was worried that like one of them was going to have a terrible voice actor. And none of them did.
Yeah. That's always the risk with remake. I guess. Oh, I read that wrong. That's always the risk with a remake, I guess. It's nearly impossible to find a game that's genuinely timeless, and even positive changes might result in venomous anger from fans who believe their fave is sacred. Maybe it's a good thing that my rose tinted glasses have been removed and stomped on. Putting games on pedestals isn't helpful, and it shouldn't come as a surprise that game design that's a quarter of a century old doesn't feel great to play today. But I liked having those memories, and I miss thinking Avalanche was awesome, or that Cloud Stoicism was exceptionally cool instead of dreadfully dull. I wish Square Enix could give me back my innocence, or at least my ignorance.
Oh, friend, you never lost your ignorance.
I mean, I'll agree with you on that.
Yeah?
He never did
And
lose
you've
his
shown us
ignorance.
all. You've shown us
Like-
all that.
I don't know, man. If innocence is lost by a video game, I don't really know how that happens. I hope the developer didn't get a whole bunch of the voice actors to come over and beat you up or something, because that would be horrible. But I don't know how you could be like, I lost my innocence to Final Fantasy Remake.
So what I understand from listening to this is that this guy is just full of shit in general. He talks about all the things that make the original game well, and he complains about them in this game, even though they didn't actually change anything over character design wise, other than making characters possibly more likable than they used to be. Barrett was always a blowhard. I don't understand why he thinks he's only a blowhard in this one. He was actually kind of insufferable in the original one.
Yeah, that's why I always change his name to Parrot.
Aerith really didn't change very much.
No, Aerith is probably the most similar of the four, but like, yeah, Aerith isn't. She's still mostly a new character.
Mhm.
I definitely think they improved her a bit.
I think it fleshed the story out with her.
He didn't even talk about
Her
the
fake
ghost
mother
shit.
a little bit better.
No, he didn't. That's a good point. He did not talk about
He
the
never
ghost.
he never even talked about like the big change, the thing that's probably changing the most. All that stuff. It's like,
That's why I said it feels like he's complaining about the original game, and this just got caught in the crosshairs or crossfire.
Yeah, it's goofy.
Well, even then, like, sure, yeah, it's true. It's not good to put games on the pedestals, but that's also wrong that there's no such thing as a timeless game. It's called Tetris.
That's exactly the game I was thinking of.
Literally, the game hasn't changed in fucking. When did it come out? 82? The Soviet Union was still a thing, I'm pretty sure.
I think you're right.
But
And
like
at least
Tetris, and like Tetris is obviously an easy example of a timeless game. But like, if you want to be a more complex one, like timeless is gonna change based on your own opinion. I don't think there'll ever be a Zelda game as good as Majora's Mask or Ocarina of Time again.
Right.
But like,
or a Sonic game as good as Adventure 1 and 2. Fight me.
Yeah, fight me. For real, fight me on that one. I think those are the best two Sonic games. Like, there's plenty of examples of games I would consider timeless that someone else might not. Like,
Sure.
it's like talking about which Fable sucks the least. Obviously, Fable 1 is the best of the 3 bad games. And then it goes Fable 2, and then it goes Fable 3.
That's where I disagree with you.
See,
I definitely think Fable 3 was the lesser of the two evils.
On the pedestal of shit games, me and him have 2 slightly different organizations for where to put Fable.
Mm-hmm.
And
we both love 1.
Yeah, like I would play through. I played through Fable 1 on Steam when it came out. When it came out as the Lost Chapters edition, controls like shit, but it's fine.
Oh yeah.
I remember if it worked.
Jack is an amazing bad guy.
Jack is an amazing bad guy.
It's a shame he was in Fable.
The fucking main bad guy is in 3.
It's like the darkness or some shit. And your evil brother.
It's also got minions that Jack had because he had random Anubis Knights. And he's like, these are my minions. What do you have these for? Don't worry about it. I'm a mask.
Mm-hmm.
But you only learn that if you pick up a book.
Also, you can throw the mask in the lava and put it on at the end of the game. Spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler for a 20-year-old game.
And I was one of the idiots who was super into the hype when that game came out.
Only slightly older than the original, though.
But like a timeless game, yeah, it's true. It is a hard argument to make, other than Tetris.
They probably haven't changed Pong all that much.
Well, Pong is not an enjoyable game.
No, Pong. Pong is the hardest game ever made.
Pong is randomly super hard. Sometimes, based on who designs it.
It depends how far you.
Yeah, there's all kinds of shit you can like I said, it's really a person to person discussion at that point. Which game is truly timeless and which game is not.
Right, because timeless is also a really like kind of vague.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there's people who would argue that like newer games like Dark Souls is timeless, but my experience of Dark Souls has not been good because it's been a glitchy, buggy mess when I played it.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like,
his concerns aren't even difficulty; it's literally mechanical.
Yeah.
Or like his. This is a strange article, but that's kind of why I wanted to read it.
Yeah, I mean, his childhood must have sucked. Like, maybe he should have played Spyro the Dragon or something and talked about that remake, because that's also a really good one. I'd love to hear how that one shit on his childhood because they fixed the camera.
It just sounds like this guy doesn't have any love for JRPGs and he has no business playing them.
It's why you wouldn't see me being like, "All right, guys, let's talk about Forza 5."
Let's talk about Call of Duty shoot 'em up. Like I said, he definitely sounds like he was complaining about the original game, and just with his nostalgic glasses, he overlooked everything that made that game until it came to complaining about this one.
Even if you have rose-tinted glasses on about a game, you should still be able to tell what put the fucking glasses on in the first place.
Sure.
He never talked about where his glasses came from in the first place. He never talked about what he even liked about the original. He was just like, maybe I never did like the original.
Well, that
I just remember I just liked it because it was popular, and I know a lot of people like it.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I'm pretty sure this is easily just a case of. I jumped on the bandwagon of gaming because it became popular and it's sustainable income. That's why he's a games journalist.
Right.
He is a technical games journalist.
He considers himself a games journalist.
Technically, any retard can just be like, I'm a games journalist. I write a blog post. I guess this is PC Gamer, which is a website, I think.
This is like what? 10 paragraphs?
It's not even that long, no. It's... Well, the article you read the other day, you said was a middle school paper. What would you call this one?
So this one's 17 paragraphs?
A very pompous essay by a hipster.
Out of 10?
I mean, look at his picture.
His picture reminds me of not greatness. He apparently likes Total War. I'd be curious to hear what he says is so great about that game, considering it is much slower than Final Fantasy Remake.
I'm almost curious to click and find out what other things
he likes to wind down with an endlessly deep, systematic RPG. Except for Final Fantasy?
Endlessly deep? like, bitch, go play what the fuck is it called? It begins with a D. Disgaea.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten that one.
Disgaea. Disgaea is an endlessly deep RPG because every item in the game has an item world which you can go into to farm better items.
Oh no.
Like, so you go into an item world to get items, to farm better items, to leave the item world, to go into the new item world, to go deeper into the new item world, to farm items, and it's just an infinite loop of this. And this is just gearing your character. This isn't actually doing the story mode. And you can get fucking millions in the damage numbers and health and stuff. Because when you get your character to max level, you can reset them to get higher and better stat growth. So, like, you get higher base stats for resetting and better stat growth. And then you can level them up as all the different classes and shit. It's ridiculous what you can do in Disgaea.
Huh.
But yeah, I don't see this guy talking about his art. He probably liked Mass Effect, which is technically an RPG. I like Mass Effect for the most part, even though I did just bitch about the ending. I don't think the expansion extended cut thing really helped all that much, but a lot of people did, so.
It is weird the
I
amount
won't-
of people
I
who were
won't
like,
really
no, the game
argue it,
went from
but-
terrible to passable with that. And it's like, no, it went from terrible to less terrible.
Passable is probably a fine way to rate it. It's still fine at that point. It's just not all that inspiring.
It really depends on how much an ending matters
And then in
to you.
the weird remake of Mass Effect they did where they're like, hey, bud, let's fuck up the face rigging. And I'm like, why? Why did you do that? Why do humans have weird faces now? So do Asari.
But-
Ashley comes off like she looks like she has like an actual mental disease because like how her head is a lot of times. It's weird.
Oh no.
She looks like she should be drooling. Let's just leave it at that.
Oh god. That's hilarious.
But yeah, like this guy didn't really address why he liked Final Fantasy, why he had rose tinted goggles, other than he did because everybody did. I can explain why I like games and why I dislike games. In games I don't really remember, like Disgaea, I would still I remember a decent chunk of Disgaea. I'd still say it's only a 5, just because I think it's needlessly complex. And grinding for gear takes for fucking ever. And the max level is way higher than you will ever need to be to beat the game.
I just find this
Like,
journalism to be terribly biased.
it doesn't really. A lot of what he says doesn't really mean anything.
I mean, I don't really consider games journalists real journalism 99% of the time.
I do want to play
This
the
is-
Final
this-
Fantasy remake though. I might do that right now.
Good
Yeah.
journalisms typically have pros
mean,
and cons.
This
for
is
each
basically a
thing.
blog post, let's be real.
Yeah, he doesn't have any pros at all. He just
Yeah,
craps on the game constantly.
Which,
he
you know-
talked about how he liked the thirsty girl
Yeah.
a little
has
bit.
but he didn't
character
really say
development.
why other than she was thirsty.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but he didn't
Because
really
she has
explain
character
that.
development, and she really doesn't that much.
She
But
likes
that's because
Cloud.
she dies too early. No, he doesn't like Cloud.
No, I said she likes Cloud.
Oh, she likes Cloud. I think he does.
Which you think if he doesn't like Cloud, he wouldn't like that aspect.
Right.
Maybe he really did play Final Fantasy VII as a kid, and maybe he was just an emo kid who picked all the emo options, and now he's just butthurt because Cloud is an emo kid.
It's possible.
I mean, it's possible.
Like that's my assumption. That's my only real guess. Because like,
Or it says that he's actually met the internet in person, which makes him sound like an old person.
I think that's supposed to be
So
I'm hip with the kids, yo. Look at
It's
my
possible.
meet my meme technology.
it's possible, and he just doesn't like change.
Like, I don't know. I don't think there is really, like, most of his criticisms. I'm pretty sure we've kind of
Debunked.
argued against or debunked. And obviously, whoever watches this, it's really up to you to decide if you think our arguments are good or not. Like, if you don't, you don't. If you do, you do. Hopefully, you do. And you can join the forces of fucking. You can join the Carpathians.
Yeah, you join the Carpathians. Carpathians are where it's at. Let me tell you about the
That's true.
Carpathians. We're led by a wonderful man named Vigo.
Yeah. But like I said, it's really up to you, I guess, what you decide at the end of the day. Hopefully you would agree with us and not this individual.
Mhm.
That's what you have to call the special people at the insane asylums. But
I know.
And then you give them their meds.
yeah, well, this individual here, he I don't know, maybe he has some good takes somewhere. This article right here did not earn him any new fans today. Unless somebody randomly watches this and agrees with him for some reason. I mean,
It'd be
we
kinda
literally read
funny.
it word for word. So you can, except for when he fucked up, what was it? What word did you mess up at the end of one of these?
Chores.
Chores, yeah. Chores. Or
Chorgs.
chorgs, whatever you
Yes,
said.
I think it was
For the
chorgs.
most part, it was read accurately word for word. And if there is an argument he's making that makes sense to you, great. He doesn't really use examples for anything. He doesn't give context. He doesn't really say why he likes or dislikes stuff other than he dislikes it for reasons that are usually outside of the game. So yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. If someone reads this and they're like, yes, Barrett was a better character in the original than in the remake, can you tell me why? I
Yeah,
really want to
like
know. Like, honestly, it's I'm not to be a dick. Like, I'm honestly curious. I want to pick your brain. I want to know.
Well, I for one
Yeah.
in general would like to hear everybody's both critiques and praise for the game.
I
If you'd
have
like to comment in the comment box,
comment
get some
section.
No, the
what's the
comment
comment
box. I like
section?
that.
The comment box, the box
comment
solely
box.
for comments.
Fair enough.
We'd
But
love to
yeah,
hear
like
from you guys.
Tell us. You know, if you sit there and decide you've listened to all this nonsense and you're like, man, I actually won't or will comment, and or I won't comment because they're idiots. Explain why. I can't improve otherwise.
Hmm.
Explain unto me why we are the fool.
If you don't want to comment,
hopefully,
please
like I
comment
said,
why in the comment box.
There you go.
if you don't want to comment why. I like that. That is
Mhm.
definitely what you do. Then like and subscribe
There you
And
go.
like and subscribe.
to show us who's boss. Especially if you
Sure.
don't like us.
There you go. You can give us
Comment on how
hate
you would do it
dislikes.
better, so we could get better.
Be like some of those people who subscribe just to dislike every video.
That's fine.
Yeah, you can do
It's
that.
still interaction.
Yep.
It's still funny. All right.
If you agree with us, give us a like. You disagree with us, give us a dislike. I don't give a fuck. It's not like you can even see the dislikes now
I
for
was
some
gonna say it
reason.
may or may not be seen anyway.
That's
You
something
see it if
stupid.
you see it if you look in the channel.
Probably
if you
because
download the-
fucking game companies were like, "Oh, hey, here's our bad trailer." Like
Hell, it
Dark
wasn't game
Alliance.
companies.
Well, movies,
There you
movie trailers. Come out, they're like, "Hey, look at our shit trailers. Doesn't Loki look awesome?" You're like, "No." You're like, "Oh."
go.
At least I looked at it.
What about Hawkeye? No. What about Marvel? What if? No. What about Boba Fett? Yeah, please kill me
What
now.
about Boba Fett?
Oh,
Still haven't even
they've
watched
done him
that.
dirty. They've
What
done
about
it.
Boba T Fett?
It's not Bo.
Mr. Feet, Mr. Bob A. Feet.
Sure. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, sure. Whatever.
Bob A. Feet from Starbucks?
Oh, okay. All right. I'll hit the stop recording button now.
Oh, here's more Final Fantasy articles. Best weapons. Like I said, they're all pretty useful based on what you do.
Sure.
Especially because like the earlier weapons have more stuff to unlock with them, and the later weapons have less, but they're more powerful.
Yeah. It
So
doesn't
they end
take
up
as
about
long
the
to
same.
unlock.
Yeah. Best materia. Oh, if we're being perfectly honest, the best materia is cure.
Like as far as Barrett went,
Unless you
he
can,
had-
I guess, perfect dodge everything.
I was gonna say as far as Barrett went, he actually had a weapon that was pretty much utter crap. It was one of the melee weapons, but I enjoyed the technique he gave me so much that I decided to level it up completely, just so I could stop using the weapon and still be able to use the weapon art.
Yeah, there's a couple of weapons like that.
I think it was the one with the steel ball on it. It might have been the crab claw though.